Welcome back to Talent on Tap. My name is Brendan Brown. I head up recruiting here at LinkedIn, and I'm very excited to jump back into our book of recruiter competencies, which we affectionately call the BORC. And we built this to really accomplish three things. First, to help us articulate what excellence means in the role of a recruiter. Second, to establish a foundation for how we hire, train, and manage our recruiter performance. Third, to provide a tool for managers to leverage so they can best support and coach their team members. Last month, we rolled out our first competency, influences and advises. This month, I'm excited to roll out our next one, which is Champions Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging, or DIBS, as we call it here at LinkedIn. And I would like to welcome to the screen my colleague, Lonnie Olasaba, who is our Director of Inclusion Recruiting. Welcome, Lonnie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brendan. I'm very excited to be here with everyone.
Great to have you here. So talk to us a little bit more specifically. What does this mean for a recruiter to champion diversity, inclusion, and belonging?
So when we think about a recruiter who champions DIBS, they demonstrate a few key behaviors. They openly advocate for diversity and inclusion in an organic and authentic way, demonstrating their belief in its importance, right? They also influence the business around the importance of intentionally focusing on diversity and inclusion. And they also drive the right behaviors, right? Leading with and maintaining an inclusive mindset consistently in all interactions. In essence, leading by example.
Without question. Perhaps you might have a story or an anecdote. When we hear you talk about the concepts of championing diversity, I think it was super clear, but maybe bring it to life with an example of, what does this look like on the front lines for a recruiter?
One example that comes to mind is we have a recruiter who is working with an executive looking to hire a people manager. Now, while the role was within a team that was responsible for advertising and sales, the competencies needed were really more specific to management and people leadership, right? So to encourage the executive to think more broadly about what to look for in the talent and to eliminate biases that happen, right? When an interviewer simply has something in common with a candidate, the recruiter encouraged thinking differently and taking an approach where the alignment with the executive was on critical leadership competencies, right? They then collaboratively came up with interview questions to assess those competencies. Now, the result and where the interesting example comes into play is that the talent that surfaced to the top, the best talent had the right competency. They did not come from the ad sales background. Mm-hmm. So this process eliminated the potential for the focus being on someone who is common ground or who looks and acts like individuals we have seen before, and really opened it up to think differently. It led to picking the right talent for the role, right? In our standard process of recruiter phone screen and manager screen, these candidates would have been screened out way earlier on in the process. So the recruiter's ability to influence was really demonstrated in this situation. And ultimately, it impacted the outcome in a positive way, which is really great.
That is a fantastic story that really brings to life what a recruiter can do if they really lean into the opportunity. Talk to me a little bit about learning. Obviously, we're big on learning and development at LinkedIn. How have we brought this competency to life through learning?
We really wanted to make it something that is actionable for our recruiters. And so the first step is a self-assessment. And what that does is it allows the recruiters to rate themselves on the competencies, understand where they are, and then they also have a follow-up conversation with their manager. And this is about understanding where their strengths are and what they do well, and then where are the areas of opportunity and where they can grow. In parallel, we've launched a self-paced learning path. This includes LinkedIn learning content and custom content, focusing on key areas, things like implicit bias test. One of these is also very particular, and it's very important because we need to understand where we are in our own biases first to inform where we need to focus relevant to our own diversity journey.
Recruiters are often up to their eyeballs with recs, getting back to candidates, hiring managers. I mean, you know how it goes. Talk to me a little bit about some best practices or how the team has been able to focus time and prioritize time to do this learning and development around DIBS.
When we think about the work and how we're doing these live sessions versus the self-paced sessions, self-paced content is great, but where the learning really starts to get sticky is when you put it into action, right? When you put it into practice. So To help with this, we've actually created sessions that we call So You Think You Can Recruit. And they're really awesome because in each of these sessions, what we do is we devote time to recapping the key concepts from the self-paced material. We jump into examples and scenarios, followed by one-on-one role play breakout sessions. Another key example, Brendan, that I think is very critical to the success of our hiring inclusively is our Diverse Slates program. So originally, this came from the NFL Rooney Rule. I know many of us are aware of that policy that requires NFL teams to interview ethnic minority candidates for head coach positions and senior, operations jobs. So we wanted to apply that same concept to our program. Our program is designed to diversify our hiring by ensuring that we routinely have a diverse slate of candidates that we consider each time that we hire. And so we also leverage our So You Think You Can Recruit sessions to equip our recruiters with the fundamental understanding of the why this is important and the operational way of how to have conversations with hiring managers who are also at different stages in their journey as well.
Fantastic. Lonnie, thank you again so much for joining us and for sharing the competency of champions, diversity, inclusion, and belonging with our audience, and appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Brendan, to share some of my thoughts. I really hope that this material has been useful to anyone in our industry trying to master their craft or grow in their journey. I do think it's important for us all to remember that there isn't an end point. It's an ongoing movement, a journey that we're all on, and we're in it together.
We will be sharing some additional resources like our self-assessment and our LinkedIn Learning playlist below. Please check it out. And thanks so much for joining us on Talent on Tap.